Well, we are back for the second live of the day. Really excited to be here with you, and we're going to be inviting Mirjam from Raw Food Feast. We're going to be going into a really important and interesting topic. Yeah, it's going to be fun. I hope you guys are ready for it. Welcome to the live. Yeah, we're going into how your relationship with food impacts your raw success. It's a big one. Something I feel really passionate about. I love, and Mirjam's new course, In the Bundle, goes into this a lot. Yeah, it's going to be a really fun talk. I see that she has requested, so let's go in there. I just want to let you guys know and remind you that the Ultimate Raw Vegan Bundle is back and only here once a year. Every single resource is completely brand new, never before released. It's only here till the 11th, and it's gone until next year. And it's $1,850 worth of stuff on sale for just $50. 40 brand new resources, including Mirjam's book, her course, Food Freedom Course. So we'll get into that. I recommend you follow her at Raw Food Feast and give her a follow and grab the bundle through her. I'm going to invite her in right now. I kind of just, there we go, view request. Go live. For Matt Bennett, it's really ridiculously good. I'm going to share a little bit more about that in a minute. But, hey, Mirjam, how you doing?
How are you?
What's going on? Truthfully, I'm having a bit of a hard time.
How's that?
I'll be honest. Well, I got some salad in my tooth.
I kid you not.
Yeah. It's sometimes it's tough, sometimes it's tough, but that's not the reason I'm sad. And I need to get this off my chest and acknowledge it before we move on. And maybe it's fitting with our talk a little bit, but it is current and real. 2 hours ago, I started a live with Matt, Raw Intuition, and it was a food demo of his Macadilly ranch sauce. And I tell you, it was a high energy, super fun conversation. And the dressing and the salad was amazing. And I was really excited to share it. And then I goofed up after the live. It didn't save. And
it's
not gone forever.
Stored in your saved archive?
I really don't think so. I've never seen, this has happened to me once before, actually. And it disappeared. Forever.
I had this
never to be seen again.
That I thought it was gone, but you actually have a setting where you can say, hey, automatically save everything for me. And so that might be a little option.
I'll look for it afterwards. I really hope so. And I'm going to shake it off. I'm going to shake it right off and get into this with you, because this is going to be fun too. And it's going to be amazing. And those that joined us live in the last one, they got the gems. They got the crispy gems that me and Matt shared and that recipe. But I'll put out a post a little bit more about it. And I don't want to bring too much of that in there right here, but I had to let that go because it's current and it's real, and it's alive in me, and it's time to move it, Yeah.
I am doing really
well. So how are you doing?
Yep.
Yeah.
I feel alive. I feel vibrant, and I'm excited about this talk.
Love it.
And I really good day. It was for me a bit of a restful day because with the bundle going on, which is great, but you're working around the clock, as you know. And
it can be a little bit busy for sure.
Today I really planned, the only thing that I'm going to do is do my live with Chris. I did a little bit more though, but that was the plan. And I thought, I see how I go. And so this morning I made a lot of recipes that are now in the dehydrator. And and then I went to a sauna and I did some cold water therapy. And so it was such a lovely day.
That's beautiful. That's perfect. And on a Sunday, I mean, it's absolutely fitting and perfect. I had a really, really nice day out myself, caught some sun, some really good company, new fruity friend, and made some stuff too in the background, made some durian cookies, which are still almost done, and shared some durian and with myself and a friend and my kitty
But did
Snooter, which really
you
loves
make
durian. And
cookies with
it's been a
durian?
beautiful day. Yes, yeah. Raw Chef Yin has
Oh,
some durian
sweet.
cookies in her Asian raw sweets
Oh,
course,
yeah, I've had a
sweets and
look
treats
at that,
course.
but
So
I haven't explored all
yeah,
the recipes. But this sounds so good.
yeah. I haven't tasted them, but I have tasted the cookie dough, and the
But if
cookie
the dough
dough
is
was
good, you
quite
know
good.
that the
It
cookie's
was
gonna
really
be good.
tasty.
That's what I also love about raw food. Like with cooked food, something can taste good beforehand, and then once it's done, it's like, nah. But with raw food, when you taste the dough or the batter
Yeah.
or whatever, and it tastes good, then you know it's gonna turn out great.
Absolutely, absolutely, and you won't get a stomach ache from eating it raw. Because I remember I used to eat lots of what was it, chocolate chip and also oatmeal chocolate chip
Yeah,
cookie dough raw way back in the day,
forgive
and
me,
it
Chris,
can give
but
you a belly
you're
ache.
based in Switzerland?
Oh,
Sweden. You
I'm
know, I
in
was thinking
Sweden
Sweden
actually.
or Switzerland, and I thought, okay, so
Yeah.
how hard or easy is it for you to get durian over there?
Well, amazingly, right now, I mean, year round, I can go to a few Asian markets and get pretty darn good quality frozen durian. It's not super cheap, but it's not horrible. Like 12 to 15 bucks, I think, for about a pound of the, with seeds. And there is right now, because it's season, there is fresh durian that I can get as well. So I can get whole fresh durians. A smaller one, which was like, I think it was a kilo and a half, or maybe it was closer to 2 kilos, somewhere in there, was about
5
50 US
oh?
dollars ish.
Oh
But
my goodness. Over here,
yeah,
it's crazy. There's one Asian market. Well, it's like a chain, but there's one Asian market that sells it
yeah.
sometimes fresh. You pay like 150 euro minimum. Amsterdam.
Wow. Where are you again?
Yeah.
Amsterdam. Wow. Oh, that's
That's
crazy
why I
because
was
it's not that
wondering,
far
like
away,
we're
but
both in Europe, so I was wondering like how is that for you? Because it's super hard to get over here. And then you can get it frozen, but then still you pay like for
Mhm.
this little bit, you pay like 20, 25 euro.
Wow. Yeah, you know what? You actually probably would be better off just coming here for the day and grabbing some. Like you might
Yeah,
actually save money, especially
grab a
if you
flight for
drove or took a
26
ferry,
euros with Ryanair and then hey Chris and enjoy some durian, go
Yeah.
back at the
I
end of the day.
do it. Honestly, it's crazy. I mean, it'd be a quick flight. I had a Ryanair flight, no word of a lie, to London from
Yeah.
Copenhagen, because Malmo's so close to
Yeah,
Copenhagen. 10
I know.
euro. 10 euro round trip.
Many,
It's
many years
crazy.
ago, that's the cheapest flight I ever booked. It was actually really 26 euros to Latvia. Amazing. I was so
Wow.
thankful.
Yeah. In Canada, the lowest flight you'll ever see is like 600, $700, and that's even just like a 3 hour like drive, like really
Wow,
close.
that's
It's so
crazy.
expensive there. But then I can fly. It's crazy. I could fly from my hometown to the coast, which is it's like a 21-hour drive, but it'd be like 800 bucks round trip, 600 to 800 bucks round trip, or
Yeah,
I could fly to
exactly.
Costa Rica
And
for the
have
same
the
price.
most incredible fruit available, plus super sunny weather. Hard choice.
Yeah, yeah. I mostly did the drive to that part instead of flying because yeah, the flight companies just have monopolies, so they can just
Yeah,
drive the prices up, But anyways, yeah,
yeah.
there's more competition here and it's more open. But just for the people that are here right now, I just want to make sure too that everyone knows you, Raw Food Feast, and if you want to share just a little bit of your story and what the motivation to create
Sure.
food
Well,
freedom
my name
course
is
is.
Miriam, and I'm from the Netherlands. I am super excited
Yeah.
about raw food. Enjoy your meal. I'm super excited about raw food and juicing. I absolutely love those two combined together. It's a total win-win situation, in my opinion. And the reason why I created the Food Freedom course is, well, I create books and I create recipes. I'm a recipe developer. I actually also created this book, my last book, Food Feast. Full thing within 12
Nice.
hours, it became a bestseller, number one with bestseller in 3 lists on Amazon. And I was like, ah, that's
Nice.
super
That's awesome.
awesome.
That's so
And
awesome.
so this is my baby. Yeah, So
Yeah,
actually, so
that's
I
amazing.
develop recipes and I love to make recipe books, and I have a website, and on that site, I write articles and I also send out newsletters with information. But I do notice that some people, or maybe actually quite a number of people, need a bit more than just a book article. They need to be taken more by the hand. And so then a course is just really fantastic. And you can go way deeper because you can, create way more. You can explain more. Plus, you can also be more interactive. And I noticed that there are, and I focused, my course is focused on the raw food community, but also people who are interested in going raw or eating more raw can absolutely join too, because then you really are setting yourself up for success, because then you know the pitfalls, what to watch out for, and really how to set yourself up for success. But what I noticed over all these years being part of the raw food community is that so many people struggle with their journey on raw foods. And I also noticed that so many people struggle with, having all these restrictions, like very restrictive mindset, having very high expectations of their diet and of themselves, and a lot of perfectionism involved. And I I want people to break free from that. And I think it's fantastic if someone chooses to be fully raw, but high raw is great too.
Absolutely. Yeah, every bite of raw food is a win and
Absolutely. But
something to
you
celebrate.
hear those really extreme things like raw is law and cooked food is poison. Yeah, those extreme thoughts, and I'm like, well, actually, what is kind of toxic are those thoughts? and I really want to shed a light in that area and just say, like, hey, these are the actual facts, and to give people a real good foundation. Because I think one of the things what happens is, and I love this, people hear or read a success story about someone who discovered the raw food diet and healed a ton of issues, or lost a ton of weight, or whatever happened to them, right? Which is fantastic. So they get all excited, but they do not explore what the raw food diet is all about. And so they basically right away dive into it, don't give their mind, their body, their spirit, they don't give it time to adjust.
Yeah, they don't know fully what they're getting into, and the unwinding and everything that comes with this lifestyle.
And a lot of people also experience actually a detoxification process when they start to eat fully raw or even way more raw. And they don't know what that is.
For sure.
And what happens is that either people think, oh, this isn't working, I'm getting sick, or whatever, they experience. While actually the body is like, hooray, I'm finally getting all the nutrition that I need. I can cleanse. I can become whole. And I think it's way wiser to get grounded, get a good foundation, and go raw. And I'm not saying that you need to have everything pinned down together and understand everything there is to know about raw food, because like I am still learning today, Yeah.
Yeah, me
But
too.
I am saying that you need to understand that changing your diet so drastically, because that's what it is. Because if you are eating mostly cooked foods, and all of a sudden you start eating raw foods, which is alive, really like living foods, then a lot of you suddenly your body is getting a lot of enzymes. Suddenly your body is getting a lot of vitamins and minerals and fatty acids and amino acids and a lot of fiber. And that's another thing. The gut microbiome is oftentimes so malnourished and neglected. And all of a sudden, all these fibers come in and people get bloated. And also because they don't understand food combinations and they feel like they're pregnant 6 or 9 months old, even men.
Yeah, farting all over the place and stinking up the room.
They don't get it. And either you have like people that are feeling very restricted and say, this just needs to work. So they struggle massively and they continue. They're not happy. They're not happy in their body. They're not happy in their mind. They're not happy in their spirit just because they hold on to this thing. Or they quit because they say it doesn't work. And they say, I've tried it. And then I think, yes, okay, you have tried it. But the way that you went about it wasn't that great, maybe. And so it's a really long answer, but I think it's important to, you know, mention all these things because it was all part of my process why I decided eventually, okay, I'm going to create a course to help people. And so the first module is called Let's Get Rooted. And so we are really getting to the roots of your heart. And also you learn how to set boundaries because that is so important. And it's called blissful boundaries. Is it raw? Is it, we come to your question later on. Is it possible to go raw in pregnancy? It's a very good question. Yeah. I hope you remember, Chris.
Yeah, I will.
Sorry, I just lost my train of thought here.
You're talking about
thank you so much. Yeah, about the boundaries, because you need to be really kind and loving for yourself. And you discover that you need to do that. And when you start to do that, that also means that you really need to set boundaries to create a safe place for yourself, a safe and healthy place, but not just for yourself, also for others. And setting boundaries can be really tough, especially when you have not been raised to do so, when you have not taught. And as human beings, we are so prone to say yes. We are
just to try and please others or put others first
and not ourselves. And I always say you can only love others very deeply when you love yourself very deeply. And so it's so important to understand that your no needs to be no and your yes needs to be yes. So that are things that you are taught in this course. And then you need to set boundaries. And you also learn about brave communication because you might need to go back to certain people and say, I said yes, but I actually meant no. And that can cause friction.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah. This lifestyle brings up some intense conversations at times and lack of understanding from those that love us.
So I deal with that too. There's also a lesson dealing with the daily. But Chris, you say this, but I also tackle this because some people actually become so convinced of their lifestyle and they actually stop communicating with their loved ones because they are not following along. You know, they're like,
they're creating a division in their mind, right? Like I'm like this, you're like that. We're too different.
Better instead or something. They put themselves on a pedestal and they judge others for not being vegan or raw vegan or whatever. And that is twisted too. That is not a mindset. So
pride, right? That's one of the 7 deadly sins, I tell you.
Oh, thank you, the gentle homeopath. Yeah, so so we deal with that, and then module 2 is called wholesome. It's about being whole in body, soul, and spirit. And I think that is so important. And
how would you describe that? How would you describe being whole in body, soul, and spirit?
Well, it's a good question. I think we need to understand that we are not just a body or just or just a soul.
love the body,
not just
but we're not just the body.
We are everything. We are three in one, you know. Everything is connected. So you can eat like all these crazy good food that is fantastic for your heart, but if you're holding crutches in your heart against someone, you know, bitterness is gonna overtake you. You're not gonna be healthy in body, soul, and mind. You need to understand everything is connected.
No.
And also spirituality, you know, you need to understand that you are a spirit having a body experience, you know, and and it's really how it is. And so when you start to come into alignment with your body, and you start to also come in alignment with your soul, like setting boundaries, being honest to yourself also, you know, because that is the thing that I also really mention, like, because in module 2, where it's about, you know, wholeness, you are going to establish your why and your how, because it's very important to understand, why do you want to be raw? What is it? Where does it come from? Is that something that comes from deep within you? Or is that a success story of someone else? Or do you feel you are pushed by someone else, or peer pressure, or whatever else? Where is it coming from? I mean, I think raw food is fantastic, of course. Otherwise, I wouldn't be into it. But that absolute mindset, that restrictive mindset, that perfectionism, that needs to go. Because if you are 100% raw, and at the same time you have all these restrictive thoughts, and you're struggling as well to be raw 100% all the time, and you feel you need to and you don't even know why, that's not healthy. It's way better to make up your mind, like, hey, do I want to be fully raw? And if so, why do I want that? Or do I want to be high raw and enjoy a cooked meal here and there, which might make it even easier for me to enjoy certain things in life? That's the way healthier mindset. And to Chris, but there are unfortunately quite a number of people who have quite an audience on Instagram or other socials, who have high standards on raw food or fasting or whatever, but in their own secret place, they do other things. They are ashamed to say it. They don't dare it to do that. And I'm like, my goodness, that is not freedom, man. That is healthy living.
No. I've been there. I've been there myself, for sure. Absolutely. And sharing that and letting go of the judgment I had on myself around it was one of the most enlivening and enlightening in many ways things that I ever had, right? And it's like, and I think it is important to mention, because we've talked a little bit about this behind the scenes too, that, you know, whether high raw or all raw, both can be incredibly, incredibly healthy. And oftentimes, like you said, it really comes down to the mindset around it, right? Like why you're doing it, and if it's coming from a place of fear or lack of self-worth, or feeling like, if I do this, then I'll be a better person, or if it's coming from, I genuinely love this, and this is me nourishing myself, and, you know, this is what I'm choosing out of a stance of love, and, you know, what really just works and feels best in my body, mind, and soul.
You know, it needs to bring really life to your life. And for me personally, I live a high raw food lifestyle. You know, like, I am mostly eating raw foods, but not always. I seriously enjoy from time to time a curry or a soup.
Oh, but you what's it called? Like, you whip yourself at night before bed, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, just making sure. What is that called? Is that contrition, or what is that in something like that?
I don't know
in some religions when they do that.
I know how to whip.
Yeah. Of course, I'm joking. Of course, just so people know.
That's, like, for example, yesterday I was invited to come to friends, and they cooked for me. They made an incredible curry for me, but they usually also eat animals and whatever else. I do not eat. They already make such a step for me to make the curry with only vegetables, and they were not cooked through that everything is out there, like there's no life at all anymore in there. Exactly.
Yeah,
It was
not the
curry.
mush
The
curry.
taste is fantastic. I mean,
Yeah.
they made it with so much love. It's great.
Yeah.
And I enjoy that. But I do, you know, make choices. You know, there are also certain things that I've really decided I do not eat that. And I tell people if they invite me over, like, hey, listen up. And I also have periods where I am feeling like I really need to be raw 100% now. It's just my body really communicating. So that's how it works for me, right? I really listen to my body. And if that's the case, then I will tell people like, hey, listen up. It's great that if I'm coming over, but right now I'm fully raw, you know. So then they know. And if that is an issue, which is never with my friends, but I would just bring my own food. I would just tell them, hey, then I can bring something, or I make everything. Also fine. Yeah, just
that can be fun too. That sounds, I mean, it just sounds like you really have a great awareness of yourself and your boundaries, and you know, you've created an opportunity through this to have more clear communication with your loved ones and to connect more and be more vulnerable, which I'm sure
absolutely.
strengthens
I'm
the
telling you,
relationship.
I have seriously never ever experienced any negativity in my personal surroundings because of the way that I live in whatever way. I have been also exploring health since a very young age, and everyone just knows, like, I am all about healthy living, and you know, everyone just knows it's not a question. But at the same time, I do not expect from anyone else to live the way that I live. And I think that is, and I also share this in the course, I think that is such a big thing, right? If you are not negative or critical about others, you're respectful, they will respect you too. I really believe what goes around comes around. And so, yeah, you know, I mean, let's be clear, like if people choose to eat animals, like you cannot do that in my home. That's right?
Yeah, I'm the same way.
That's my boundary. But
That's your
if I
boundary.
come, you know, for example, to a party or something, and there is that available, yeah, that is then what it is. But I'm gonna judge him for it. And you know, also, I never get this, but I also ate animals at a certain point in my life. And you know, for a long time it wasn't even consciously, you know, you're raised to do that.
You just think it's normal.
I was raised
everyone's
with that.
doing that.
I
Of
didn't
course
know
it's normal.
better. And eventually, you know, I was not never I've never been a big like animal product eater because I felt it so much being in my body, and I've always been pretty aware of my body, and I was like, man, I just feel it everywhere. It's so heavy. But you know, and then finally, you know, I just thought, okay, it doesn't really sit well with me. How come? So I started researching that, and then I discovered like, hey, we are actually not really designed to eat that by nature, you know? And so I changed my ways, but I struggle with when people are so critical of others, how they eat, and I'm like, yeah, but you were there once too. And being angry and aggressive about it is not going to help those people towards your side. You're pushing them away. Why don't you love them where they are at? And so this is also what I cover in the course. Like, love people where they are at. And in the meantime, you do you. You know, lead by example. Ooze love, be you, be loved, be healthy, be friendly, be kind, have respect for others, and they will have it for you too, you know. And some people not, but if people
they're on their own path, path too,
for you
right?
too,
It's kind of funny, right? Because it's like they're on their own journey too, and it's wild, but so many people get into veganism very angry because they just all of a sudden are awakened to like, I cannot believe this travesty, and I can't believe I've been participating in this, and I gotta shake everyone, you know. But to me, that's something to grow through and let go of, rather than to hold on to and hold that hate and anger in your heart.
Quite a number of years ago, I was considering to start some sort of eat club at my place. Yeah.
Eat, oh, like an eat club?
Like a potluck thing or whatever. Okay. People, and then for me it was important that, of course, no animal products involved, and then high raw. But I googled a little bit if things like that existed, and they did. And so a place which is about 25-30 minutes drive from me, there was a vegan potluck, and I thought, you know, I'll go there. So you go to someone's house who you've never met before, which is by nature is actually not really something that I like to do, but I thought, let's just do it, because I'm going to do something that myself, right? So let's see how it goes. And I was the only one who was there for the first time. So everyone had seen each other at least once, and some knew each other pretty well. And they were sitting together and they were talking about all sorts of things. And then eventually it was about a lady who was sharing how much she was really sad. Like she was not in tears, but close to, right?
Like me at the beginning of the talk, talking about what happened last one. No, I'm sorry. I'm going to stop talking about that.
Vegan eatery potluck thing where I went to, and oh, I get you now. Sorry.
Okay.
100. Anyway, that was far away from me, for Chris. I thought.
Couple gears clicked, and then clicked. It's fun when that happens sometimes.
Yeah, my mom used to have
I could hear the clicking.
Ages ago, like we would come home and tell a joke, and sometimes a week later she started laughing, and we were like, "What?" She's like, "Yeah, it's funny, I get it." And we were like, "Oh yeah, that's not fun anymore." Last week.
I love it. I love it. It makes it extra funny to me.
Enjoy it, but back then, young, just like, oh my God. Yeah, you never get any jokes for sharing. Anyways, I was just listening to them, and then she had seen a few films that really shook her up, and she was like, oh my goodness, she had seen the light, right? She was like, oh, can't believe I ever ate animals and what they do to those animals. And she was horrified about it.
Yeah, sure.
So much so that she really like threw everything away in her house that she could. She changed everything, really strict to her children about it, also towards their family. And their family, of course, had not been part of that process at all. And for her, it actually really happened overnight, because she saw those films in one go and she was just like, this is it. Yep. So she really overnight became a different person in that regard. And they were talking with her about it. And then this guy said to her, it is actually kind of good that you're aggressive about it. You know, sometimes people really need that last push to get into this lifestyle. And I thought, oh my goodness, my heart was just like, oh, I don't belong here, because this is so not how I feel about these things. And later on, they turned to me and they said, like, so for how long have you been vegan? And I said to them, well, I'm not vegan. And they're like, oh, you will be. Like that. And I thought,
we'll make you.
Actually, no. I said this, I said veganism is actually really like a certain lifestyle, right? I said I do choose not to eat animal products. I said, but that is really from a health perspective. And I'm not saying that we should not protect the animals. I think we should. But I just have a different approach. I shared that I never experienced any negativity with anyone in my surroundings about my diet choices. They could not believe it because all of them had issues with their families, with their friends. Exactly.
Yeah. Losing friends.
Me neither.
I never lost a friend.
Not over my food choices. No. Never. It's
no.
And I think that is also, you know, a real bummer. If that happens, it's not necessary. Sure. Yeah. Of course, you know, if people are aggressive to you about your choices, then you need to, you know, be clear and set boundaries and say like, hey, we can talk about a lot of things, but my food choices are not one of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Having that clarity and having those communications with people, it can either, it's kind of funny, right? Because dependent upon your approach, you can either really push people away and really focus on differences and, you know, spell out that you think you're right and they're wrong, or you can focus more on connection and communication and sharing and sharing the things you're excited about and the things that really light you up rather than pushing those differences and pushing people away. It can actually create more connection, absolutely, and more curiosity.
Hey, are you okay if we answer the question of that lady who asked about pregnancy?
Yeah, yeah, of course. Do you want to go into that, or do you want me to, or what you wish?
Because I've been talking so long.
Okay. Yeah, well, I mean, as a man, you know, sometimes they say, you know, not fitting to talk about stuff like that. But yeah, I think so too. And that was kind of a stalling answer. But but yes, no, you can go raw really at any stage in life, and you know, whether that's pregnancy or whether that's you know, before childbirth. Most people would recommend doing so a year before, just to streamline your detoxification process. And, you know, just like we've been talking about with you know, the physical, mental, emotional aspects of applying a completely different diet, just so that you're even more streamlined. So during that process, you're a little more even kilter rather than a little bit up and down. But there isn't, as far as I understand, and if you know different, as far as I understand, there isn't any major contraindication that is going to like affect the child negatively, again, unless it creates a lot of stress, physically, mentally, emotionally in your life. So being, you know, being really, what's it called? Aware of that and making sure that you're getting enough food and getting enough calories and getting enough variety and enjoying yourself.
I do know, like, I've been trained by Dr. Robert Morris in education and iridology. And going raw, there are of course many levels of going raw. Like, are you just, you know, adding a bit more raw, or are you going all the way? Because if you all of a sudden start eating a lot of fruit and a lot of leafy greens and actually really go the right way, as we suggest, to be high carb, low fat in your diet, that is great. But what can happen though is that you go, because it all depends on where you're at in life. If you are generally healthy, you know, it's different. But if you actually are not so healthy, then you can go in a fairly, you know, pretty crazy system. And also when you're pregnant, your immune system works very differently, because that happens because your body otherwise would reject the baby. So your immune system starts working differently to actually keep the baby, to protect the baby. And so if you go really like aggressively, like on high fruit and you know, just actually how we would recommend you would normally go, but then still, even if you're not pregnant, you know, you might need a transition period. It depends completely on who you are, what your background is, how healthy or not you are. So it's a hard one to say, yes, you can do it, or no, you can. It just really depends on the, you know, the place your body is in. And what I have learned from Dr. Morse to absolutely not do is do this while you're breastfeeding, because it can actually mean that a lot of toxins come into your milk and you're feeding your child with that. So then it's just better, you know, to go, for example, plant-based with an emphasis on raw and see how you go. But if you start noticing like, hey, I feel a lot of like cleansing things happening, then slow down a bit. So I hope that helps.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's very seldom completely black and white answers, right? There's going to be some gradient and some individuality, and you want to, of course, be mindful that you're not going at a pace that is creating a lot of mental stress or physical stress from like really intense detoxification
and at
processes.
the same time, it's such a beautiful thing. And I also, I you know, in a perfect world, right, Chris? But I would love for everyone to be high raw at the minimum. And I would love for every soul, whether you're a male or a female, to start at least a year or two before you actually really would like to have children, to live on this life, because you give your child such a great start by doing so. And I'm not saying you cannot fix things, like if you didn't, you can, sure. But it's a different start for your child. And it's so wonderful if you can give that first microbiome, all those bacteria to your children, that in a stronger place, you know, to give your child a real strong immune system from the start. That is just the best, I think.
The best gift you could give, absolutely. And it's never too late or too early to be adding more fresh fruits and vegetables into your lifestyle, and to really take on a holistic approach and treat yourself as lovingly as you possibly can.
I totally agree. Yeah, that's good stuff. Yeah.
That's beautiful. Well, this is lots of fun. And I think that this topic is just really so dang important, because you're so right that, like, you know, two people can be on identical diets and one can be thriving due to their mindset, the way they look at things, the rest of their lifestyle. You know, it's not just raw food diet. We're talking about a healthy, holistic raw food lifestyle, high raw lifestyle. And if you have anger and hate in your heart, or if you are judging other people, all those kinds of things are going to reverberate and make such a big impact on your overall health. What do you think, you know, if somebody is in that place? Because I think it's really common. I mean, you mentioned that yourself, but I just think it is so common when people get into this, and, you know, like I said, you know, maybe they see the films or this, their heart is opened, and all of a sudden they see so much unconscious action that causes so much pain, and some conscious action. People are just like, oh, screw it, I don't care, right? So when somebody's harboring that, someone's feeling that, what do you think is a good first step to be able to move through or let go of that?
That's a really beautiful question. Because that's the thing, right? When you become aware, when you become grounded, actually, that is a tough thing. Because, you know, some people, I call them feelers. They just feel the world. They feel other people's emotions, or emotional animals, you know, of the earth as well. I mean, you know, some people I think like cuckoo, but I really can't.
No, I'm one of those kind of like an empath, right? I mean, and I think everyone has that, but some people are more predisposed, and the raw food diet can put you even more in touch
with that. It's
high
vibrational living. And the more aware you become, and the longer you're eating a clean diet, really you become more aware of things, which can be a tough place. If you haven't seen any film, you know, just by being high raw or fully raw, you are just way more in touch with yourself and with the earth, because it's normal, because everyone can have this. It's just because all of a sudden you actually live the way that nature created it. So it's no wonder that you get in touch with nature by doing so. But the most important thing is truly to find your why and your how, and to follow your journey. And it sometimes can be hard, you know, because some people are just so rude, and they make fun of you when, you know, what I just said, for example, how I feel that we are so connected to the earth. You know, with some people, you better just don't say it. Like, I don't care what people say about me. I just live my life, and they them and I do me, and it's fine. But um, people can be really rude and make, you know, nasty comments or something about it. And that is sometimes no fun, right? And then it's like, if you know that you're sensitive about that, then I'd say, like, keep the conversation to yourself then, you know. And also in the beginning, if you don't know your stance yet, instead of like going into full-blown discussions about certain topics, I'd say just choose the high road to stay low, and don't talk so much about it yet. Get grounded first, start understanding your material, start also understanding, like, because if you I actually don't like discussions. I like heated conversations. Yeah, but I don't like discussions. Nice. Like I always say, I agree to disagree, and I am super healthy to do that.
That's
I am
absolutely
in a conversation
absolutely
to hear someone say, "Oh, you're right about that." I'm genuinely interested to hear what somebody else is thinking without trying to change their mind. Of course, it can happen that people, because you are very convinced about what you're saying, because you actually have knowledge about that, you know, and that's why I'm saying become knowledgeable about things first and start to understand, you know, what you stand for. Become grounded, become rooted. And once you feel more confident about it, then maybe speak up. But I would always say, just lead by example. You do you, and people notice change, whether you say it or not. They watch you and they see it, and that is great, you know. And people who have their hearts in the right place will not judge you, will not bash you, and most of them actually at a certain point will start to ask you questions. And I think that is the most important thing. Wait for them to pop the question instead of you trying to share your story, because they are not open for you, whether you like it or not, you know, generally speaking, of course, eh? But it was interesting. Like a while ago, we were for eating with a few friends for a birthday thing, and this lady that I just got to know, she had some health issues. So I just started asking a few questions, because she asked me a question because I'm a nutritionist, and she was like, "Oh, what about this and what about that?" And then I started asking her a few questions to get better idea. And then a friend of mine actually said, oh, do you want to give her advice? And I said, no, actually, I don't, because I thought she's not asking for that specific piece of information. We are going out and forth. And I think that is an important thing too, you know, like without, you know, don't start just sharing without people being interested. It's a bummer for your energy, and it's
screaming into the wind, right? It's like you want to respect yourself and be aware of your energy and your needs, and aware of other people and what they are actually looking for. Because I've had like experiences with people saying like, hey, I want you to consult with my dad, and I'm like, sure. And then I'm like, is he at all interested in raw food? It's like, no, not at all. And it's like it's not that it's a waste of breath. Of course, there can be seeds planted, but a lot of times, you know, unless someone's actually interested in asking questions, they're much less likely to actually take things on.
It's so true. It's so true. But, you know, I really learned this the hard way, Chris, because, I was always so excited because, you know, I was learning so many things about the healthy.
You heard the good news about raw food.
What I don't do this anymore. I didn't do. Then I would have a conversation with someone, and in that conversation they seemed so interested, right? And I thought, oh wow, this is great. And then I was like, give me your email address. I will send you an email with info. I spent hours writing my heart out, like, oh, they gotta know this and this and that, and I would share recipes, and I would never hear back. Like, I seriously have never have had one response to whatever email I sent in that way. And initially I got a little bit frustrated. I thought, well, screw you, man. We had such a conversation and then this. But you know what? They didn't ask me to send anything. I asked for their email address. I asked if I could send them email, and probably they were just being polite and saying, yeah, go ahead, you know. Maybe they didn't want to offend me, which they would not have, but you know, people just don't tend to say no.
They're just being nice maybe, or mildly interested,
So
but not enough to make a change.
I don't go that way anymore, ever.
No, I hear you. You know, it's funny. I love what Dr. Graham says about this. He often says, like, if some people start saying some stuff, says, oh, this isn't for you. Like, it's probably not for you at all. Like, you know, and people are like, what? Like, and then they get kind of like uppity about it and want to learn more. And sometimes, you know, sometimes it's just so much easier to defer, to be like, you know what? Like, I don't know. Like, if people ask questions, like, I'm not too sure. I'm still actually learning about this, but it feels pretty cool. Like, have you read this book? Like, I read it and it blew my mind. You know, I'd love to talk to you about it sometime, but let's not go there right now. Let's just focus on this instead. You know, like we have the tendency to make ourselves an expert, or to, you know, create division between each other, like we said before. But really, we don't have to draw a line in the sand. We don't have to say that this is this and that is that, and I'm this forever and you're wrong because of that. It can be so light, you know, and like, to me, that's not only food freedom, that's life freedom, right? Like, to me, you're explaining a way to be more grounded, more confident, more together with yourself, what you need, and how you operate in this world with others. And
so powerful.
There's nothing more powerful than that.
Because I actually say in the course, food freedom is health freedom. But you said it way better. You said food freedom is life freedom. That really a chord with me. Yeah, but it is true. It is. But I love it because I was like, food freedom isn't just this. It's health freedom, but life freedom. It sounds so much better. We mean the same, I think, but it sounds.
Well, the good thing about digital copies is we can update them whenever we want. We just have to put by Chris the Raw Advantage and then provide a link. No, I'm just joking.
Also life freedom.
I also life freedom. You know, it's so amazing because this lifestyle really does have the propensity for us to like have a bright light shined on every single shadow within our being, and it is such an amazing opportunity for growth. But there's also the reality that not everyone is really ready for that, you know, and not everyone really wants that. And a lot of people just come into this thinking, oh, like raw food fun. And it is fun. It is juicy. It is sweet, but it asks you to grow, and we can resist it. We can push it away, you know, but it's going to come up. Right.
And you know what you just said, like, and I experienced it too, that, at the one hand, it seems like everyone wants to be healthy, but that I discovered as well the hard way, that's actually not true too. Exactly.
They're not willing to do what it takes.
Like, they feel it's extreme or whatever. And I'm like, well, actually, if you look at nature, then you are very drifted from nature. Actually, that is kind of extreme.
Yeah, people say that's extreme. I think what everyone else is doing is extreme, and we're like super conservative. Like, really, I got that from Doug, but I just think it rings so true, really, when you step back into the bigger picture of life.
Because we're very close to nature, actually. And that is so funny. It's just really like how you, because I had a conversation a while ago with someone who drinks like animal milk. And I said, oh, but would you ever see yourself hanging on the thing of a cow? Like, how do you picture that? And was like, yeah, that would be really weird. I said, yeah, but that's actually what you're doing. However, you know, there's a process in between so that you don't have to do that. But that's actually what happens. It's actually.
It's gross. It's so gross. And when you actually go into like, you know, how their life and how they're inseminated and the bulls, all that stuff, we don't want to go there. But, and then the other thing, I like when people have said too, like, well, we got some fresh cat milk, and people are like, blah! Like, It's like, what the heck is the difference? Like, it's all
Exactly.
from what you're used to, right? Like, people are so programmed and we don't know it, you know,
It's so
but it
true
takes a lot
because
of
so many people, like,
unprogramming.
you know, I'm from Europe, and so many people judge people from China. And I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
but if you were born there, you would think that the people in Europe are weird. So just your point of view, right?
Yeah.
Where you live, I've lived overseas for about 6 years. Well, I'm telling you, when you do that, you become pretty aware of yourself, but also of your habits, your culture. And
Yeah.
you really start
Yeah.
to understand, like, it's not wrong, it's not right, it's just difference.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah, it brings so much more tolerance and so much more understanding and so much more acceptance when, yeah, you see that everyone's really just doing their freaking best, but you know, they're
yeah,
born into a different body, a different life, and they've had different life situations that have formed them. And not everyone's going to have the same light bulbs go off at the same times, and some never will. And maybe some are in this body, in this cycle to
yeah,
experience this or that, right? And I think for me, one of the most difficult things about this lifestyle had been, I've come to a greater terms with it now, but had been accepting that there are going to be people that you absolutely love that are going to not want to follow you at all and are going to choose to actually exit this
yeah.
planet early based on their
Oh
choices,
my
right?
goodness, I hear you. I have some people that I love so dearly, and with one, I have, I think I'm there like 85% now, 90.
That's
But
awesome. That's huge.
it's hard because, you know, I'm a nutritionist. I'm trained by Dr. Robert Morse. I have read so many books, and I'm learning every day. And I've talked with so many people, and at a certain point, you do know a few things, right? And you do know, oh my goodness, if you stop doing this and you start doing that, that's gonna improve your kidney health incredibly, you know. And it's so hard
Yeah.
to accept, okay, this person is just not going to do it. That's, it's so hard.
No.
But
No.
and then
Yeah.
with everyone else, actually, I've really come to the point, okay, this is it, you know. And I am totally cool with people living a different lifestyle than me. I'm very accepting in that, and I'm also accepting of that person that I love so dearly, but it's just because that person is so dear to my heart. I want that person to become like 320 years old or something, you know, like leave this planet. You know what I
Absolutely.
mean? It's just because I
Absolutely.
love that person
Yeah.
so much. And then you're just like, oh my goodness. Yeah, but you cannot control it. You can.
That's the key. That's the key right there, though, Mirjam. That's if I can share something that's incredibly helped me.
Yeah,
Um, you know, it's just love is the key, right? Like when we're in those conversations and we have those connections with people that aren't seeing it as we see it, it's an opportunity to start from love, right? Because so often we can have that butting of heads and be like, what you're doing is wrong and it's murder. And again, it's like, you know, it comes from that place of love, but it's connecting with them from more of like a domineering or
yeah,
right versus wrong attitude. Whereas instead, if we shift that focus right to the
yeah,
love, kind of like you mentioned
yeah,
too, you know, become vulnerable, right? And share like, I love you so much. Exactly what you're just saying. Like, I love you so much and I want to see you to be 300 years old. And I feel so uncomfortable to try and impose any belief system around food on you. But what I've found is so incredibly powerful. And are you willing to check some of this
yeah,
information out? Because I think it could make a difference in your life. And I love you so much. I want to see
yeah.
you like
I've
thrive as high as I
tried
can
it
see you
all.
thrive.
And then, you know,
You've tried, yeah, up
seriously,
and
I've tried it
down,
all, the
left and
whole
right.
list. Um, at a
Me
certain
too.
point,
Yeah.
I was so frustrated, and I said, my goodness, you know, why don't you just listen to me, because I love you so much. And I really had this, like, you know, I love you so much, I just
Yeah.
never want you to go, you know, I just don't want to lose you. And if you can add so many extra years to your life, or you don't have to, like, I think the word is dialysis, dialysis, so difficult.
Dialysis.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I have my own words, trust me. I'm amazed that one came out properly.
Oh my goodness. It's so funny. Sometimes I have like pronunciation of certain words, and then my friends who are Canadian or American, Australian, they laugh and they're like, "Oh, it's so cute when you say that." I'm like, "Okay, what's the actual pronunciation?" And they're like, "Oh, it's this." So I would say oregano, and they're like, "It's oregano." I'm like, "Okay." But yeah,
Yeah. Basel.
those kind of things. Oh, that is me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I say pillow and I say milk.
Because you're
I say
Canadian
funny
though.
things, but I'm Canadian. Yeah,
Guys,
I'm
you guys, what
Canadian.
I like,
Yeah, I'm
you guys
Canadian.
say a lot of it, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. A lot of A and a
It's an
boot and yeah,
A,
all
and
that
it
stuff.
is so
Pillow,
funny
milk.
because many years ago I was in Germany and with another Dutch guy, and well, we met there. It was like a conference, and then there was this Canadian guy, and we noticed that he was saying like A constantly. So we that, and that became like our
Yeah.
fun language. So once I was at his place, and he just got married, and I went to their bathroom, and they had like a calendar, and he had actually written a little note like, "Create a heavy here, A," and then I wrote my name in their calendar.
Yeah.
It was just in the bathroom, like with the birthday, so now they like A in there. So thanks to Canadians.
Yeah. We rock some stuff out, eh? We ain't no hosers. We try and really turn
Yeah,
down the suck and turn up the
herbs and
good, right?
herbs. Yeah, I know. Like,
Yeah.
over
Herbs.
here, it's sometimes I'm like, it's English so great, and sometimes I feel it's so complicated.
Yeah. Yeah. I find the same
Yeah,
with almost every language.
so funny. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Hey, I love our talk, Chris. It's so good.
It's been Yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure. And like I said, I think it's just such an important thing. And like, I think it's awesome to have so much excitement around raw food and to share, the benefits of raw food and, for so many people to be getting into it. And at the same time, I think it's really important to raise that
Yeah.
awareness of the physical, mental, emotional components of the raw food lifestyle and how it affects
Yeah.
your entire whole being, right? And to have some support and have that awareness. I
Yeah.
think awareness is so dang key, and your course in the bundle is going to help people become a heck of a lot more aware, a lot more grounded, and a lot more self-loving to themselves, no matter what they choose, no matter where they're at, no matter the speed they decide to go forward with this lifestyle, and form better bonds and connections with others, because it starts with ourselves, and we start to have more awareness with ourselves and our needs and our reasons and our whys and all those things. It just helps us become a more grounded, more well-rounded
Exactly,
person to connect
and
with other people.
um once you really come to that place that you have
Oh,
embraced yourself, and that you know that you are loved, and that you celebrate it, and that it is good to be you. Oh my goodness, what
yeah.
freedom will come to you, man. And if
There's no
exactly, and if you
greater gift.
from that place
Yeah.
learn about
Yeah.
nutrition and how you can
Yeah.
eat fantastic food and feel so vibrant and alive, then you really feel alive in body, soul, and spirit, which is the best. Living with a light heart, full of forgiveness, respect for others, respect for yourself. That is so important. Yeah.
Yeah. 110%. I couldn't
Yeah.
couldn't say it better and couldn't agree more.
It's
100%.
wonderful. It's really wonderful.
Well, thank you so much. Not only for doing the live with me and going to the subject, but also for being a part of the bundle and for all the
Yeah.
work you do and all the stuff you're sharing. Uh, as I mentioned, I just think it's such an invaluable aspect of holistic health, and really it's the core in so many ways, right? So self-love and acceptance of self, and really understanding thyself, right? To thine own self be true, right? So I just think it's so important and can make such a big impact on people's health and their life. And like you said, it reverberates out. If we want to see more people be more compassionate and make choices that are great for themselves, the planet, the animals, it starts with us modeling it. And I really 110% think that veganism isn't just about compassion to the animals, it's about compassion for ourselves and our fellow man, woman, everyone, right? And until we see that, you know, I don't think we're going to be creating as much compassion, love, and connection in our life and in the world as we can. And there's always another rung of the ladder for us to rise up to for ourselves and our own betterment for the rest of everyone else.
Oh man, I love this. It's, you know, it's so great that there are so many people actually that are part of this bundle that are on the same page. That's what I really love.
Yeah.
And that we actually really set a different standard within the raw food community. You know, one of love and acceptance and you do you, that kind of mentality, instead of like, oh man, we know it all and we're so great. No, I think this is my experience, that the people that are part of this, and that's also why I love to be part of this, the people are humble, they're grounded, and we all just know we are still learning. But maybe we are just a little bit further down the road than you are. So come and follow me, because I do quite a bit of things. I know a thing or two.
Yeah. Well, it's a beautiful thing, and we all learn and grow together. And you know, that's one of the big things that I just love too, is like this message of unity, of connection. It is so much stronger when there's many of us together sharing and growing and spreading it with, you know, linked hands rather than individual candles. You know, we become one giant bonfire for people to see and to help them make the changes that for us maybe weren't as easy as they could have been, which created a, you know, some massive benefit, right? Like those contrasts that we've experienced, it brings a lot of help and strength to us to help others. It brings purpose. But I'm sure, just like me, you want to see other people have an even more streamlined route, and
I also,
you know, to just
really want
make it easier.
People to prevent a lot of things that I had to go through. Hey, who's thanking us for this talk? Really, thank you for tuning in. It's such a wonderful thing that so many great people join this talk. So I just really want to throw that out, because I actually want to respond to everyone, but like, we're in this talk. So, but oh man, it's just so wonderful, because I had to figure it out on my own, you know? And I was so happy when I finally found a book or something, that bits and pieces that I thought, hey, this makes sense, or this is great, like fantastic. And then nowadays that we have like bundles and that we so many resources available, I'm like, wow, what a blessing. And so I just really, really love to help people towards a vibrant lifestyle, vibrant health. That is what it's all about for me. And I always say it's about a holistic approach to vibrant health. And you know, once we start to understand that we are in this together, like truly together, you know, we basically cannot have enough friends. Like, you know, sometimes it can feel like that, man, my life is so busy, my life is so full. But at the other end, man, we cannot have enough friends, because the more support we have in this world, the better. And the more love, the better. And, you know, you also have this saying, like, it takes a village to raise a child. I really believe that. And nowadays we are so far removed from that, actually. But what a wonderful thought that that is the way that you are being brought up, that you are being raised with all people that come around you from age, you know, old, young, and they are all part of you. My goodness, it's the best. And so also, like, with this bundle, there are so many different people in it from all walks of lives. And you know, I don't know her name right now, but she has written her whole life story, how she dealt like with suicidal stuff and so on. I mean, that's a brave story.
I put love in my body. Yeah, she's beautiful and so brave, sharing everything. I know it's going to help so many people.
But it's so brave that she is willing to put herself out there, like, hey, listen, this is my story. I love that. And it's just the most beautiful thing. And so, you know, this is also like why I thought I want my course also to be offered to so many people at a ridiculous price, basically, you know, and I already kept it so low because I would really want freedom for people in their body spirit. So I thought, you know, you know, it had to be a bit of a normal price, of course, but at the same time, I thought, you know, it should not be a burden for anyone to join. And then within this bundle, I thought it's so cool, just, you know, for 11 days for a ridiculous price. And then you have also like 39 other resources like to help you along with this course because they all work together, right? It maybe seems like 40 different resources, but it's one big deal. It's one package, you know, it's also connected. It's also working together. And I love that. It's an honor. Yeah.
Too. Well, so blessed that you're a part, and you know that you're coming from that spirit of abundance. That's a quality that I try my absolute best to live from as much as I possibly can. And sometimes we all forget, and we need the reminders. And that's the beautiful thing about community. And I'm just such a strong believer that there's no such thing as separation, but that which we create in our mind, right? And coming back into the heart and feeling that can just create so much more connection and love and understanding in our lives. And it's just, again, I just want to honor you and the work you're doing and taking the time to share with me and with everyone here and connect. It's
yeah, thank you.
an honor and pleasure.
Watermelon lime. Thank you so much. Yeah, I
Such
love
a
it.
sweetheart.
Thank you a million times. Well, Chris, thank you so much. I love talking with you.
You too. You too. Let's do it again together another time. I'm going to get into my 5-star salad. And I highly recommend, again, everyone, if you haven't checked out Mirjam on her page, Raw Food Feast, go give her a like and a follow and grab the bundle through her, or if you like through me. But really appreciate you again. And thanks everyone for staying tuned with us and for the questions and all the love and everything shared.
To everyone who watched. Thank you so much, Chris, for hosting me. I loved it. It's a pleasure. Yeah.
My pleasure as well. Absolutely. Much love to you.
Yes.
And as I always say, peace, love, and seasonal fruit.
Everyone.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
See you guys.
Have a great night, everyone.
Bye-bye.